Shalom, shalom. I want to first off give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Rachakadash. Double honor to our apostles and elders and great millstone who taught us this truth and we're well over the flock. Peace and mercy to all you Akim that's laboring in this truth and sincerity. This is the brother Marikal coming at you with another lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shah to feed the flock of Israel, which show you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, which we are the lost tribe of Israel. Okay, the only nation on this planet that has salvation coming to us, the real Jews. Okay, so this today is going to be a continuation of Daniel's 7 and 8. I'm gonna start off with Daniel's 8 today. Lord's willing, it's edifying. I'm gonna get straight into it. This is Daniel's 8 and 5. Picking up from where we left off, it says, "And as I was considering, behold, an he-goat came from the west on the face of the whole earth, and touched not the ground. And the goat had a notable horn between his eyes." Yeah, so that he-goat is going into, the Greek Empire. Okay, and that notable horn is going into Alexander. Okay, which Alexander, the freak, we like to call him, because he was a boy lover. All right, but that damn devil, this is a little brief history on him. You get more into depth. This is Alexander the Great. Alexander the Third of Macedon, commonly known as Alexander the Great, was a king of the ancient Greek kingdom of Macedon. He succeeded his father Philip II to the throne in 336 BC at the age of 20 and spent most of his ruling years conducting lengthy military campaigns throughout the Western Asia and Egypt. Yeah, because that's what Alexander was. He was a conqueror. He picked up after his father Philip the Macedonian. Okay, and the scriptures is going to expound on that. We're going to get into that a little bit more. Okay, but it says, "And he came to the ram that had two horns, the Median and Persian Empire, which I had seen standing before the river, and ran onto him with the fury of his power. And he said, and I saw him come close onto the ram, and he was moved with choler against him, and smote the ram and broke his two horns. And there was no power in the ram to stand before him. But he cast him down to the ground and stomped upon him. And there was none that could deliver the ram out of his hand." Yeah, because that was the time for the Persians to fall, man. So there's no way that they could have escaped, that battle. Okay, because I think it was a series. It may have been two battles. Matter of fact, let's go into that real quick, because that's the battle is pertaining to when he took down the Persians, which was Darius III. Okay, it was speaking about when he actually got into power, right? So this is the Battle of Gaugamela. Okay, the Battle of Gaugamela, also called the Battle of Erbila, took place in 331 BC between the forces of the army of Macedon under Alexander the Great and the Persian army under King Darius III. Okay, so this is when Alexander had took down, King Darius, and also what happened was when he took that king down, he basically took over. He completely had took over. So this is real quick precept. This is First Maccabees 1, and it happened after that Philip the son of Salakia. Let me read it again. "And it happened after that, Alexander, son of Philip the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Shittim, had smitten Darius, king of Persia and Medes, that he reigned in his stead the first over Greece. Okay, so yeah, that's what happened. Alexander, he had took over. Okay, he took down Darius the Mede. Okay, and when he took down Darius the Mede, that's how he was able to fully, get that rulership. That was prophesied. His father was actually seeking that. But it wasn't for his father to obtain that rulership, that position. It was prophesied for him to. Okay, and let me read one more. Yep, verse 8. It says, Therefore the he-goat waxed very great, and when he was strong, the great horn was broken. It says, and for it came up 4 notable ones towards the 4 winds of heaven. Okay, yeah, because that great horn, like I said, going into Alexander. Okay, after 12 years of him conquering the known world, which he conquered swiftly and quickly, because that's what I said, the wax is great, very great. He took over in a very short period amount of time. He ended up dying, and the 4 notable horns was going into his generals. Okay, this is a quick precept, real quick. Daniel 7:6. After this I beheld, and lo, another like a leopard. Speaking about Alexander, right? All right, speaking about the Greeks, right? It says, which had upon the back of it 4 wings of a fowl. The beast had also 4 heads, and dominion was given to it. Okay, going into the Greek Empire, and like we just read in Daniel 8, that notable horn, he ended up dying, which was Alexander, and it was passed down to his 4 generals, and narrowed down to his 4 generals, which was also known to be the Diadaches. Okay, and you go into the Diadaches wars, it narrowed down to the 4 generals, which were Ptolemy, Cassandra, Lacenaeus, and Seleucus, man. And this goes into the wars that, because they was fighting amongst one another for the power, okay, for the throne, and eventually narrowed down to 4, and then after that, from that 4, it narrowed down to 2 empires, which Daniel's the 11th chapter basically expounds on, the 6 Assyrian wars. Okay, but I'm gonna read this real quick. It's another precept. It says, this is I'll read it from verse 3, but I'll read it from verse 2, but the point is really in 3 and 4, I would say. Right, so it says, and now will I show thee the truth. Behold, there shall stand up yet 3 kings in Persia, and the 4th shall be far richer than they all. And by his strength, through his riches, he shall stir up against the realm of Grecia. Okay, so when you go into this chapter, those 3 kings that is expounded on, okay, was after Cyrus, okay, which were Bardia, which was his son, Cambyses, okay, and then it was Darius, okay, Darius the first, okay, who actually re-sanctioned us, because Cyrus is the one who sanctioned us to rebuild the temple, okay, when we got out of the Babylonian captivities, when the Persians took over, okay, the Medes and the Persians took over, right, and basically after Cyrus gave out the decree, when you go into the Cyrus edict, and he declared that he gave us the sanction to go back and build, the heathens was hating, they wanted to build with us. I think it's spoken about in the book of Ezra's, roughly paraphrasing the scriptures, but our forefathers dubbed them, and now this one got nothing to do with you. This is for us, and we were sanctioned by the king. So after Cyrus passed and his sons, Bardia and Cambyses, came on the scene, those heathens made petitions to basically overturn Cyrus's decision with the current rulers that was in, giving basically evidence saying that, we're rebellious, and if we go back and build this, they're going to have a problem with us. So our time of building the temple was delayed between these rulers, and then it was actually refinalized through Darius, okay, which was the third. Okay, so I'm going to read that one more time. So it says, and now will I show thee the truth. Behold, there shall stand up yet 3 kings in Persia. Okay, like I said, it was Bardia, right? Cambyses, Bardia, Cambyses, or it might have been Cambyses first, Salakia. Cambyses, then Bardia, because Cambyses and Bardia were brothers, the Cyrus sons, right? It's a mix of politics about Bardia, but that's no here or there. The third one was Darius, and it said the fourth shall be far richer than them all, which was Xerxes. Okay, which Xerxes was also displayed in the movie 300. He was that Persian freak king. So, and that was far richer. He said, and by his strength, through Salakia, it says, and by his strength through his riches, he shall stir up all against the realm of Greece. And eventually that's what ended up happening. Okay? And then Darius ended up getting taken down. Okay? It says, verse 3, and it said, and a mighty king shall stand up that shall rule with great dominion and do according to his will. That mighty king was Alexander. Okay? And it said, and when he shall stand up, his kingdom shall be broken. That's right. And shall be divided towards the 4 winds of heaven, and not to his prosperity. Yeah, because it got divided amongst his generals, not his prosperity, not his children. Okay? So it said, nor according to his dominion, which he ruled, for his kingdom shall be plucked up. It says, even for others beside those. Okay, yeah. Because Alexander kind of had different dreams, and his generals, basically, took it in their own hands and was executing their own, their own agenda, their own purpose. So this is another precept before we go back to Daniel 8. This is 1 Maccabees 1:7. It says, so Alexander reigned 12 years and then died. He reigned for 12 years, right? Took over, conquered quickly, and died, right? And it says, and his servants bear rule, everyone in his place. Okay, going into his generals like we were speaking about. And it says, after his death, they all put crowns upon themselves. So did their sons after them many years. And evil was multiplied in the earth. That's right, their sons. After those generals, their sons put on crowns, okay? And generationally, that's what normally happened. Okay, so once they took over, they got in position. Their sons took over, and it says, and evil multiplied in the earth. Okay, because this is when this goes into the first Edomite rule. Okay, the Edomites started ruling. The first time the Edomites, the so-called white men, started ruling was when the Greeks took over, man. Because that's the same nation of people, the Greeks and the Romans. So you got the Greco-Roman Empire, right? So it says, I'm gonna read it again. Yeah, it says evil has multiplied. It says evil were multiplied in the earth, and that's exactly what happened. After these devils started reigning, evil truly had multiplied. Okay, and we'll go back to verse 9, and it says, and out of one of them came forth a little horn, which waxed exceedingly great towards the south and towards the east and towards the pleasant land. Okay, and that little horn was Antiochus, surnamed Epiphany. Okay, that devil is the one who really pushed, that Greek culture, also known to be Hellenization, upon our people, man. Because Alexander, see, the thing about it was Alexander, he was all for the Hellenization thing, but when it came to us, he actually had a certain level of respect for us, because when you go into, matter of fact, I'm gonna go into it real quick. When you go into the Josephus, right, and it speaks about, and I'm gonna roughly paraphrase up until this point, and you guys could go into it a little bit more when you go into the Josephus and when Alexander actually visited Jerusalem. Originally he came before he conquered Darius, and he tried to get our forefathers to make a pact with him, become tributaries on him, and they basically turned him down because they already had an agreement with Darius. Okay, so now after he took over, he was coming back, and he was coming back, feeling some type of way, obviously, So here it is right here. I'm gonna start from this point right here. It says now Alexander, when he had taken Gaza, made haste to go up to Jerusalem, and Judas the high priest, when he heard that, was in agony and under terror, as not knowing how he should meet the Macedonians, since the king was displeased at his foregoing disobedience. Yeah, he turned him down, and now he's scared because he's like, damn, this nigga took over. What are we gonna do? You know what I mean? So it says, he therefore ordained that the people should make supplication and should join with him in offering sacrifice to Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua, who he besought to protect that nation and to deliver them from the perils that were coming upon them. And it reads, whereupon Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua warned him in a dream, which came upon him after he had offered sacrifice, that he should take courage and ordain the city and open the gates, that the rest should appear in white garments, but that he and the priests should meet the king in the habits proper to their order, without the dread of any ill consequences, which the providence of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua would prevent. So basically, the Lord was telling him, he had nothing to worry about. He was telling him, he gave him specific instructions, okay? And that was because he visited Alexander in a dream. Let Alexander know, listen, those are my people. Because it actually expounds on that. But for the sake of time, I don't want to get too much into it. You guys could check it out, whenever you get a chance, okay? But basically, what happened was, summarizing the matter, Alexander ended up seeing those priests that he had the dream of, okay? And he knew that it was from the Most High, because he was seeing, people that he had a dream of, with all white on and stuff like that. And the Most High warned him not to, touch him. That was his people. And he said, I was giving, the Lord told him, I gave you this. You know what I mean? So due to the level of respect that Alexander had for our power and our nation of people, that he didn't make us tributaries, man. He allowed us to continue to practice our customs and left us alone, man. Only nation ass he really kissed. And the other nations, these heathens, was pissed off, man, because they thought they was going to be able to, ride that wave of trying to destroy us and stuff, Damn haters. But for the most part, that's how the Lord worked, right? So, going back, it says, I'm gonna read it one more time. And out of one of them came forth a little horn. Out of one of them, all right? Because the thing about it is, Antiochus' surname Epiphany, he came from the line of the Seleucus line, okay? So it says, which waxed exceedingly great towards the south and towards the east and towards the pleasant land, okay, Israel, and waxed great even to host of heaven, and casted down some of the hosts and of the stars to the ground, and trodden upon them. Yeah, see, the thing about it is, that's certainly that's what Antiochus Epiphany actually did. This devil, when he got to power, all that, us having the mercy of Alexander, when these generals got into power, when this devil specifically got into power, man, that all of that was out the window, and he was heavy on, Hellenizing our people, Okay, so this is briefly a quick summary of this devil right here, Antiochus, surname Epiphany. And it says Antiochus the sixth Epiphany was a Greek Hellenistic king, okay, who ruled the Seleucid Empire from 175 BC until his death in 164. He was the son of King Antiochus III the Great. It says originally known Mithridates. He assumed the name. He assumed the name Antiochus after he ascended the throne. Okay, that's a brief little touch on him. But now we're gonna go into the scriptures. There's a precept on top of that, right? So this is verse 10. Okay, this is First Maccabees 1:10, and it reads, "And there came out of them a wicked root, Antiochus, surname Epiphany." Okay, and it says son of Antiochus the king. Okay, Antiochus the king the third. It says who had been a hostage at Rome, and he reigned in the 137th year of the kingdom of the Greeks. Yeah, Antiochus. Okay, who it says who had been in hostage at Rome. Yeah, because when you go into the history, Antiochus the Great the Third, which was Antiochus' surname Epiphany's father, he had actually lost the wars against the Romans. Okay, and when he lost the war, matter of fact, let me see real quick. Yep, I got it right here. Matter of fact, right, this is called the Treaty of Apamea. Okay, and after he lost that war with Rome, he basically had to make a treaty, okay, with the Romans. Okay, and basically he had to forfeit a certain amount of things onto the Romans, as well as his son. Okay, he had to give up his firstborn. All right, so see, it's the terms of the treaty. So the treaty, according to Appian, it said, I believe, alleged Antiochus III to abandon Europe altogether and all of Asia west of Taurus Mountains. He had to surrender all the war elephants, all his war elephants, right, in his possessions, and was limited to 12 warships for the purpose of keeping his subjects under control. But he was allowed to build more if he was attacked. Antiochus was burned from recruiting mercenaries north of Taurus, that is, from territory just to see to Roman alliances, okay, and entertaining fugitives from the same, okay. Yeah, and I believe around that time you had Hannibal Barca, that the Romans was having a problem with, which was Jake that was giving the Romans hell, and it says, if I'm not mistaken, it's lucky if I am, but I believe so. So it's Antiochus had to give 20 hostages, whom the Roman council would select. The hostages should be changed every 30 years, except the son of Antiochus. In the future, he would maintain no elephants. The Seleucids were forced to pay an intimity of 15 talents of silver of debt, and it says Eboic talents immediately. 2,500 more than the Roman Senate ratified the treaty and installed of 1,000 talents each to be delivered to Roman annually for the next 20 years. So they was this devil, and basically, going back into the scripture, a part of that agreement, he had to give up his son. Okay, so eventually what happened was his son ended up coming back into power because of his brother, okay, that took over his rule, took over stead, because Antiochus Epiphany was supposed to reign, but he was sent to hostage, and then his brother took over, and then when his brother took over, basically his brother children was supposed to take over right after him, but his brother had to honor the treaty, okay, that was made by his father, okay, that we just read, right? And he had to trade in his eldest son, roughly paraphrasing the account. So he ended up trading in his firstborn, but he also was able to swap out for his brother, okay? So this is a quick precept. This is Daniel 11:21. It says, "In his estate shall stand up a vile person," which that vile person with that devil Antiochus Epiphanes, "to whom they shall not give the honor of the kingdom, but he shall come in peacefully and obtain the kingdom by flatteries." Yeah, when you read into him, basically that's what he did, because the throne was supposed to be passed down after his brother passed. It was supposed to be passed down to his brother's son, but he ended up manipulating his way into rulership. Okay, so going back into Daniel's the 8th chapter. Let me see where we at. We at verse 11. It says, matter of fact, I'll start back at verse 10. It said, "And it waxed great even to the host of heaven, and it cast down some of the hosts and of the stars to the ground, and stomped upon them. And he magnified himself even to the prince of hosts, and by him the daily sacrifice was taken away, and the place of his sanctuary was cast down." Yeah, because when that devil got into power, he started putting out a lot of hell, man. A lot of hell, man. He was cruel, man. He came down with those Hellenistic laws, okay, and basically let me see. I'm gonna bring up this precept that basically goes into that, because our day-to-day sacrifice was taken away. It was a lot that what this devil did, But hold on one sec, Slakia, bear with me. Okay, this is First Maccabees 1:41. "Moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people." Okay, that's the Hellenistic doctrine, right? "And everyone should leave his laws." Okay, this is what they wanted us to do. Stop practicing our customs. This is why Jake is so much Hellenized now, caught up in the custom of these heathens. Right? So it says, "So all the heathens agreed according to the commandment of the king. Yeah, many also of the Edomites consent to his religion, and sacrificed unto idols and profaned the Sabbath. For the king had sent letters by messengers unto Jerusalem and the cities of Judea, I should say, Salakia, that they should follow the strange laws of the land and forbid burning offerings and sacrifice and drinking offerings in the temple, and that they should profane the Sabbath and the festivals, and polluted the sanctuary and the holy people, set up altars and groves and chapels of idols, and sacrificed swine's flesh and unclean beast." That's what this devil was doing, man. They sacked the temple, okay, and started forcing our people to do abominable acts, man. Going against our customs, man. This is why this devil got to pay, man. And their time is coming, man. The time is coming, And it says that they should also leave their children uncircumcised, and make their soul abominable with all manner of uncleanness and profanation, okay? And that's what it was. See, the thing about it, these heathens knew that if we wasn't practicing our customs, that's what will lead up to us to be more disconnected from our power, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah, and that will prevent us from being rescued, okay? So they was very stern on doing this, man, and this going into the abomination of desolation, with the Greeks, because it was two abomination of desolation, the abomination of desolation with the Greeks and the abomination of desolation with the Romans, okay? But this is of that time, man, These devils is sick, man. You know, that's why he was called that vile person, man. Because no other ruler was doing this but this fucking devil, man. That's why these devils gonna pay, man. Their time are coming though. And it was some beautiful times, and the Lord took care of him too. And the scripture's gonna get into that. So it says, verse 12. This is, in host was given him against the daily sacrifice by reason of transgression, and it cast down the truth to the ground, and it practiced and prospered. Then I heard one saint saying, and another said unto that certain saint which spoke, how long shall be the vision concerning the daily sacrifice and the transgression of the desolation, to give both the sanctuary and the host to be trodden down upon feet? Yeah, you know, the angels asking like, yo, when is this going to be over without people being tortured, the sanctuary being destroyed? It's like, you know, we was in some dark times, right? He said, and it's verse 14 said, and he said unto me, unto 2,300 days, then shall the sanctuary be cleansed. Yeah, because it was literally a time period, you know, and that eventually the city was end up, you know, being cleansed and built up, and walls around it and so forth, right? So it said, it came to pass when even I, Daniel, had seen the vision and sought for the meaning, then behold, there stood before me as the appearance of man, and I heard a man's voice between the bank of Uli, which called and said, Gabriel, make this man to understand the vision. So he came near where I stood, and when he came, I was afraid and fell upon my face. But he said unto me, understand, O son of man, for at the time of the end shall be the vision. And we're in that ending of time, man. You know, everything is actually happening, and we're seeing, you know, this empire falling down. You know, from the Greeks, we're gonna go into the Romans in a second. Lord's will in the next part. You know, well, this is why it's so important to you know, basically know these accounts in these scriptures, because it summarizes a lot. So it says, now as he was speaking with me, I was in a deep sleep on my face toward the ground, but he touched me and set me upright and said, behold, it says, behold, I will make thee know that shall be in the last end of the indignation, for at the time appointed the end shall be. The ram which thou sawest having two horns are the kings of the Mede and the Persians, you know, like we was going into. And the rough goat is the king of Greece, and the great horn that is between his eyes is the first king, which was Alexander, okay, which Philip wanted to be, but this who was the Lord set up Alexander to be. I mean, you know, and this is what the high priest was showing Alexander when he went back. You know, like, you know, the reason why you ruling is because the Most High put you in a position. You was prophesied to rule. And this, and right here in Daniel's, the 7th chapter talks about it. You know, Maccabees and so forth, they possibly went into, you know, but he was that first goat, okay, the first king, okay. And see, that was the thing, because Alexander know that the priests, they wasn't bullshit him, because he knew how to read Hebrew. At this time, the scriptures was in Hebrew, okay, and he was taught by Aristotle, okay, which obviously was a Jake, you know, that how to read Hebrew, okay. Philip the Macedonian had assigned Aristotle to teach him, right, his father. So it says, now that being broken, whereas 4 stood up for it, 4 kingdoms shall stand up out of the nation, but not in his power. And in the latter time of their kingdom, when the transgressors are come to the full, a king of fierce countenance and understanding dark sentences shall stand up, and his power shall be mighty, but not by his own power. He shall destroy it says, and he shall destroy wonderfully, and shall prosper and practice, and shall destroy the mighty and the holy people. And that's what a devil did, right? Antiochus Epiphanes. Okay, going back into him, right? So it says, and through his policy also he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand, and he shall magnify himself in his heart, and by peace shall destroy many. He shall also stand up against the prince of prince. He went against the Lord. He went against Yahweh Hashem Yahushua and the nation of Israel. Okay, but he shall be broken without hand. And that's what happened to this devil, man. You know, when you go into the book of Maccabees, when Antiochus Epiphanes died, he didn't die in battle, man. He died of a sickness, man. The Lord tortured his ass on the way out the door, man. You know? So it says, and the vision of the evening and the morning, which were told in where there, Salakia, wherefore shut thou up the vision, for it shall be for many days. And Daniel fainted and was sick certain days afterward. I rose up and did the king's business, and I was astonished at the vision, but none understood it. You know, and that's what happened. You know. So Lord's will, it was edifying. I just want to close out by giving all praises and honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shah, Bahashim, Rakakadash. Double honor to our apostles and our elders in great millstone who taught us the truth and rule well over the flock. Peace and mercy to all you Akim that's living in the truth of sincerity. To the next time, Lord will. Shalom.